2, 1.
We are live on a Tuesday night for some short track racing, Parts for Trucks Pro Stock Tour style. Welcome to the virtual South Boston Speedway, to the virtual Cummins 200, the second E-race for the Parts for Trucks Pro Stock Tour. I'm Dylan Langille from Riverside International Speedway, not alone in the virtual booth. All our pleasantries are out here. We're ready to go with Mike James from Eastbound Park in Newfoundland and Joe Chisholm from Racetime Radio. Welcome, fellas. Who's ready for a Tuesday night showdown? Hey, Joe.
Ooh, I can't wait, Joe Meister. This is going to be a dandy. Do you got the dazzling jacket on here, buddy?
No, it's still up at Riverside. I haven't made the trip to Antigonish yet. Mikey, how are you on the rock?
Oh, quite lovely, brother. It's Parts for Trucks night, and we are so excited to be back at Stobo. We got to see a little bit of a taste of this on Friday night, and, it's great to be at this NASCAR wheeling track, home track. So we got some heavy hitters from the Parts for Trucks Pro Stock Tour, and it's a big night for the Cummins crowd.
It is a big night. Want to say thanks to everyone watching on Tim's Corner Motorsports, also the Parts for Trucks Pro Stock Tour Facebook page, and Vidane TV. Got to give a shout out to our buddy Paul Showtime Strickland Jr. for running the replays tonight and behind the scenes and everything. And I want to say hi, especially to Ken and Tara from the Pro Stock Tour watching and helping organizing this event. And maybe you caught this little highlight on CTV Morning Live this morning. Tim Terry, along with Cole and Jarrett Butcher, joined Kaylee Miller to talk some iRacing. They threw Kaylee behind the simulator. She wrecked a few. It's all good, and you got an experience, and more people got to learn about iRacing here in Atlanta, Canada. So it's letting us into this big event tonight. It's the second E-race. We have one about a month or so ago with Cory Hall getting the big win. That was the Lucas Oil 200. It's 200 laps again here at South Boston. Had a fun race on Friday night. You were just mentioning there, Mike. And we've got some of the best racers in the Maritimes and Atlanta, Canada. I'll say Atlanta, Canada. I don't know if our lone Newfoundland driver is here tonight, but a lot of representation from New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and PEI tonight.
Yeah, for sure, Joe. And, looking at the times throughout the practice and qualifying earlier, we're going to see a couple of heats coming up. But these guys are within 0.3 of a second, so it's going to be pretty wild to see these 16 drivers. There's almost going to be a lot of two-wide driving that we've seen like on Friday. This track is quite tight, and I think that we're going to be able to throw a blanket over our leaders.
I think back to the post-race comments from race number 1 in the Parts for Trucks Tour. I distinctively remember you guys. Cory Hall, I believe, was the one that said, guys, it's an I-race, but I'll tell you what, I am wore out. It took a lot to run that race. They're in for a big one tonight in the Cummins 200.
It's no easy task, and we even saw on CTV Morning Live today, they were showing off the rig that Jared Butcher is going to be racing. It's that sensitive wheel which will move in your hands if you hit the wall, and it's very reactive with the race environment. So it's not just your casual driving around on a Sunday morning. It's a Tuesday night. You're going to be feeling everything in your wheel if you have one of those special wheels. And we're lining up heat race number 1 with some heavy hitters, including that driver, Joe, we were just mentioning, Cory Hall, winner of the previous Parts for Trucks Pro Stock Tour E-race. Cory Hall lined up with the Laker News number 6. That's Brad Eddy in some new colors. Rest of the starting lineup in heat race number 1, Ashton Tucker in the number 2. Also, Cole Butcher in that 53. Ryan Van Orscott in the number 80. Terry Duguay, Byron Bartlett, and Nicholas Noggle in 8th. He's going to be finishing off this first heat race. I believe we have 16 drivers here tonight, gents, for this whole 200 lapper coming up in just a bit, but gonna set the field here with some.
These guys are getting ready to go. In practice, as Mike mentioned, 0.3 of a second separate first to last. That's not a big separation, Mikey. These guys are going to get her on here tonight.
No, and it's going to be only 8 laps here in the qualifying heat races. We're going to see 2 of these, the first 8 here with Cory Hall and Brad Eddy chasing them around here. Cory Hall will get the hammer, but 8 laps to go. Nicholas Noggle and Byron Bartlett in row number 4 has got to get it done early to get up through that pack.
Track position will be key as we get going here. And with 200 laps, a pit stop's going to be required to get some fuel and tires. And the green flag is out for the first heat tonight with Cory Hall on the inside of Brad Eddy and Cole Butcher featured today on CTV Morning Live. He looked good. He looked like he hasn't gained the quarantine 15, so he's in racing shape. Underneath him is the number 80, Ryan.
Unfortunately, Ashton Tucker did not make the call here, so he is going to start at the back of the pack for the Cummins 200. So just 7 cars on the track as Byron Bartlett moves into the 5th spot here. Your top 5, Brad Eddy now your leader with Cory Hall in chase.
Brad Eddy leads the class of the field here in heat race number 1. You can't count out Cory Hall in that 83 car. He's going to be a new addition when we do get the green flag in the air. We're going to see Cory Hall a lot more by the sounds of it in the Parts for Trucks Tour. Doing a great job in second, but he's got company, the 53 of Cole Butcher in that Atlantic tilt load machine. He'd be knocking at the door.
Cory had a lot of starts between King Racing and Reed Racing. It's going to be cool to see him driving his own equipment. Of course, his Legends Racing team is very, very successful. Another successful driver, Cole Butcher, 2-time champ on the inside of the 53, looking underneath the number 83, Cory Hall. 5 in with 5 laps to go. Brad Eddy's got a sizable distance over second and third, Mike.
Yeah, just a couple of laps here. Cole Butcher did test the bottom. Now he's looking to the top. He's pushing Cory to block up high. So I think Cole Butcher has a plan here as he tests that outside line once again. Shalley dropped to the bottom here, but Cory being very protective here for position number 2. And Butcher trying to make it too wide here, but Cory Hall doing a great job with the blocks.
How many times have we seen Cole Butcher play out this same story that we're watching in front of us tonight on iRacing and the Parts for Trucks Tour? The 53 car fakes it down low, goes back up high. Tell you what, Cory Hall don't know where he's going to be coming from it. Here he comes. He's up the inside as they exit turn 2.
Then Orscott right behind the 53, but again, it's not really fighting to get into the race. It's more so setting your positions. 1 lap to go here at South Boston as we go single file again, Mike.
Yeah, white flag is out right now for Brad Eddy, but the battle is Cory Hall and Cole Butcher. But look at that, Ryan Van Orscott and Byron Bartlett just on the outside window, hoping that there could be some contact, but it's not going to be. It's going to be checkered flags for Brad Eddy and the 6 car with Cory Hall and Cole Butcher rounding out your top 3.
Brad Eddy won one of the TCM races a few weeks ago, Joe. He won it by the driver crossing the start-finish line getting DQ'd, so he does have a win under his belt here now. He's got a heat win under his belt.
Yes, he sure does. He's going to be one to watch in the feature event here tonight, the Cummins 200, as the second heat race lines up. And how about that? The Quaker State Chevrolet, the new kid, the 836 of Gary Elliott's going to lead these guys to green.
Did you just say new kid?
Yeah, well, he's a new kid out there, man.
A new kid on the block, but not new kids racing. That's the Iron Man, Gary Elliott. Longest running sponsorship with Quaker State. Pretty impressive career and resume behind that car.
Jared Butcher also in this lineup. He was featured on CTV Morning Live. Daryl Marr in the 66. Ken McKenzie Sr. in this field, pardon me. There's Troy Burke in the 01, Sean Pierce in the 21. First appearance here on iRacing in a while for Braden Langille in the 51. He raced in the Pro Stock Tour in 2018. And Andrew Rogers, very fast in practice, fellas, in that 114. Keep an eye on him.
I'm going to be watching that front row. That 54 car, Jared Butcher, man, he was tough in the last few races that I've been part of. You got to expect big things out of that 54 car. And how great is it to see Daryl Marr back in that 66 as the green flag flies.
Jared Butcher jumps out to the early lead in front of Gary Elliott. I mean, you saw the rig that Jared is racing tonight. It is very sophisticated. Gary's a little off the pace there on the bottom with McKenzie and also Sean Pierce working on the top side, getting around that Quaker State number 36, kind of scattering through the field. Oh, we got Sean Pierce turn around in turn number 1 and 2, fellas.
Very unfortunate for the 21 of Sean Pierce. Now there is no reset on these cars, so damage is a big factor on these cars, not like the Cup Series. So the Maritime Pro Stock Tour, the Parts for Truck Series, doing it the old school way.
Let's bring in our good buddy Paul Showtime Strickland to show us what happened.
under the first caution here tonight, and we're going to take a look at the Shed Life Shed Movers instant replay. Focus in on the 21 Wood Brothers looking car here. You can see that was the 01 of Troy Burke. Just kind of hit the wall back there by himself. He slapped it, so this caution is definitely going to benefit him. He's not going to lose any time, lose any laps or anything like that, but just a little bit of a lazy spin there from the 21. Didn't hit anything, no damage or anything like that, so may have kind of worn the tires down just a little bit, and you can see a little bit of a bump, but luckily doesn't hit anything else, so it's a good move. He's able to grab a gear here. Well, he's going to roll backwards, then he grabs a gear, burns him down just a little bit, and he'll get that car righted, pointed in the right direction, and back to the tail end of the lead lap.
A little bit of contact, as you mentioned, between 36 and 21. That's also going to send Gary Elliott to the back of the field with no-fault cautions, just like the Pro Stock Tour. Lovely night here in Nova Scotia. We're reaching those summer nights with it still being pretty light outside at 9:15. Anyone else want to sing the song Summer Nights from Greece? Anyone?
No, thank
No.
you.
No?
No.
We're good? Okay.
Oh, we're all good. We're all good.
Dylan, we've heard your singing skills in the past, and we're going to pass on that tonight.
What, you didn't like my Kenny Loggins?
No, that was just no.
Is this the reason the karaoke
We are
bars
not doing Top Gun here tonight.
This is the reason the karaoke bars have not reopened in Nova Scotia. They knew people like me were going to land there.
Imagine what happens when you add a little bit of juice.
Lemon juice.
It gives you think you're a singer or not, just like referenced in Drinkin' Thinkin' by George Canyon.
You've been listening to country music way too long.
Oh, dude, all day today. Just got off work, and maybe you just got off the clock as well. Thanks for joining us. It is the heat race for the Maritime Parts Trucks Pro Stock Tour Virtual Cummins 200 at the South Boston Speedway, a legendary short track in the States, in Virginia. And thanks for watching us on either Tim's Corner Motorsports, the Pro Stock Tour Facebook, or maybe some of our American viewers on Vidane TV for checking out some Atlantic Canadian Maritime super late model action virtually this time. Jared Butcher's in the 54, Ken McKenzie on the outside in the 85. A 4-lap dash to the finish, and the green flag is back out, Joe.
Yeah, loud hammer for the 54 of Jared Butcher. He's got that superior machine, just looking superior tonight. The 85s, though, no slouch behind the wheel. McKenzie staying right on his tail.
A little bit of distance now. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, Mike.
You know, in this iRacing series, compared to real life, you know, when you got that hammer on the restarts, it's such a huge advantage. Very hard to judge when you're on the outside, but Jared Butcher did a great job here on the restart, and has given himself a two-car lead over Ken McKenzie Sr. here. So we'll be interested to see the restarts here tonight. We've seen in the past those that time it on the outside really may take advantage, but we're going to get checkered flags for Jared Butcher as the flash bulbs fly. And we are now going to get set for the Cummins 200, boys. Jared Butcher, Ken McKenzie Sr., and Ryan Vinorshat going to have some big moves up here in the front.
They sure are. And before we get going, we're going to take a pause to stand at home for our national anthem.
Okay, folks. We'll get ready for the national anthem here. If you're able to, would you please rise for singing of O Canada?
O Canada, our home and native land. True patriot love in all of us command. Quatre ombres se porte l'épée, il se porte la croix.
From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land. Glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard
Want to thank all our anthem singers tonight at various racetracks in Atlanta, Canada. We're all gathered around the computer or maybe the tablet tonight to watch another Maritime Pro Stock Tour race. It's the virtual Cummins 200 at South Boston Speedway. Heat races are all done. Brad Eddy and Jared Butcher were the fast drivers, and we are ready to go 200 laps tonight. Dylan Langille from Riverside International Speedway, Cole Butcher almost flipping in pit road, along with Mike on the Rock. That's Mike James from Eastbound Park, and Smokin' Joe Chisholm from Racetime Radio. Our second time getting together to call these e-races for the Pro Stock Tour. We also can't forget about the voice of the Pro Stock Tour, a guy who's put this together, and he looks pretty darn good with the beard on the big screen. Tim Terry, what's up?
Just getting ready to go racing here this evening, Dylan. 16 cars here. We had a couple of drivers that had to work late and what have you, so hopefully they can block off 2 weeks' time. Paul, if you haven't, throw that this fancy little graphic up on the screen. We're going to reconvene here in 2 weeks and do this all over again. Want to thank the folks at Nova Truck Centers. We're going to do 150 laps at Richmond. It's going to be a long night at Richmond, but these guys absolutely love this racetrack. So can't wait to do that in a couple of weeks' time, Dylan. Want to thank the Ken and Tara and the folks at the Parts Trucks Pro Stock Tour for putting this on. And I'm going to shut up because we're about to go racing.
Very, very rarely do we hear Tim not saying anything in a Pro Stock. He's one of the, we'll call it a scorer, so he's in the scorer's booth tonight. Running the show, so we got to thank him again for putting this on. Well, before we get going, guys, I mean, Joe, we love doing this on Racetime Radio. Let's talk some picks. Joe, who do you got tonight?
Ooh, man, you're putting the pressure on. If I didn't just see him wreck, I was going to take the 54 of Jared Butcher. I believe I just seen him wreck in warm-ups. I'm not sure. I got to take the 54. Jared Butcher, he's starting up there. I know Eddie's going to be fast, but I'm going to take Jared.
Mikey, who you got?
You know, with strategy, 200 laps on the board, it's all going to be the 83 Cory Hall. He's had some misluck over the last couple of races that I've watched him, but, you know, he is the strategy man, and I'm sure he's got something up cooked in the back of his mind for the plan tonight. The 83 Cory Hall all the way.
I'm going to pick another Butcher featured on CTV Morning Live today. That's Cole Butcher. They asked him, you know, how's his luck been? He kind of said, you know, it depends on the race. I think tonight's his shot at getting a big win on e-racing.
Hey, Dylan, just want to let you know, Spotter on the 85 car told me they want to start at the rear of the field, so Kenny McKenzie Sr. will be falling to the rear on the restart here. Not sure where Ashton Tucker is, but he might be lost somewhere in Littleton. Did not make the grid. Hopefully he joins us here in a bit.
Sounds good. So you can see Kenny McKenzie Sr. going to the back of the field. So interesting take. I mean, with only 15 cars on track, it's not going to make that big a difference, but maybe he feels something in his bones. Maybe he feels a little disaster. Hey, if you're watching on Facebook, let us know who you're cheering for. We want to see who your picks are tonight to try and win this race. A lot of Brad Eddy fans looking through the comments here. A lot of Kenny Sr. fans here. So it's going to be cool to see how many people are going for one certain driver. 200 times around South Boston Speedway. Love to see this track back on the NASCAR circuit, whether it's trucks or heck, maybe even Cup. They're always changing things up. Pace truck's about to pull in. The pace lights are off. 200 times around South Boston. The virtual Cummins 200 about to get underway. Brad Eddy gets the green flag, Joe. We're out racing on a Tuesday night.
Absolutely, and here we go. Brad Eddy got a good 2-3 car length lead as they fly down the backstretch here. And that 83 of Cory Hall, he's gonna. You gotta watch him. He's gonna save his stuff. I know he's gonna. And so are the two Butcher boys. We're in for a dandy here, Mikey.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we got side-by-side Butcher action right now, the 53, 54. We've seen this in the past couple of weeks where we've seen Cole come out of nowhere and take over, and we actually had one race where the 54 ran out of fuel. So strategy will be a big factor here tonight. Fuel may be a big thing here on the 3/8 mile. This track is fairly similar to Antigonish, but we're definitely going to see some pit road action with 200 laps on the board.
Well, a caution's going to maybe mess up a few things there. So already a caution early on. Looks like the 7 of Byron Bartlett's got some big-time damage on the front. Maybe a low. Whoa. Well, you may have a graphic on your screen, race fans. We just got the behind-the-scenes rewind of what happened. And Paul Showtime Strickland Jr. is going to show us. Paul, I forgot your last name, but I didn't forget about you. What happened?
Easy for you to say, right? We're going to take a look at the Shed Life Shed Movers instant replay here. And 7 down low, 01 up top. looking like the 7 just wasn't able to get cleared and tried to go up high. Unfortunately, the 01 was there and did a little bit of a flippy-do there. Up there in the danger zone, if you will.
Yeah, brother. Little flippy do. Is that what we're gonna call him tonight?
Yeah, we'll call them flippy doos. I think I can get down with that name.
Brad Mann, our color commentator on Racetime Radio, he'd call that a dipsy doodle. That's what he'd call that. Man, I got to tell you, I really miss my East Coast family, you know, whether it be the RTR crew, because we haven't got together at all, and my maritime family. I'm telling you, I miss absolutely everybody out there.
Yeah, it's we miss you having you here too, Joe, and it is good to see a few tracks are going to be racing soon if you're out of the loop. You're definitely not out of the loop if you live in New Brunswick. You probably know that Miramichi are racing on June 20th, Father's Day weekend, and Petty are racing the next Saturday. I know a lot of street stock racers, mini stocks, they're all getting fired up, and it's going to be the first races in Atlantic Canada during COVID-19. Of course, there won't be any fans in the crowd, and at 50 people at a time, but hopefully there'll be a way for the fans to watch that coming up. I mean, it's exciting, and hopefully we get something going on here in Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island and Newfoundland, but day-by-day basis here, but it's cool to see at least a few tracks are going to get some action.
Absolutely. We got to get that flag stuck in the ground in Nova Scotia. I'll tell you that. Racetime Radio can't wait to get back out there. As tonight's action in this Cummins 200 Parts for Trucks Tour. How about this? We got Brad Eddy in the 6. Going to restart this one exactly where he started the race. Got the 83 Cory Hall to his outside. Oh, and then it's Twin Butchers in behind there in that third spot. Third, fourth, sorry. And you can bet the 53, he's got to make a wish on the hood of that car. I know what he's wishing for tonight, I can guarantee it. As the pace truck hits pit road, green flag back out, Mikey.
Yeah, Brad Eddy looking sharp on these restarts and the start of the race here, but it looks like Jared Butcher trying to make a move on the inside right now on Cory Hall. They are going door to door around turn 1 or 3 and 4, but Brad Eddy with three car lengths right now on the pack.
Cory Hall is really good at conserving his stuff. You know, we've chatted at different racetracks here on iRacing. He's told us a few times, like, he knows when to push it, he knows when to let off a bit and conserve the tires. And 200 times around this track, again, 3/8 mile, it's not very big. And certainly not banked as much as a Riverside. It's going to wear the tires down for sure, and we're on board now with, I believe, Cole Butcher. Yep, Cole Butcher in the 53. Sometimes you get the Butchers crossed up here, very similar cars. And we saw their rigs, at least Jared's rig earlier on CTV Morning News. So you know that he's probably sitting in that giant garage with all the pro stocks sitting around wishing he could be in the real thing, Joe. But this is as good as it's going to get here on a Tuesday night during these times, and he's in front of his brother.
Yeah, he sure is. And Jared, he is flying along pretty good, but you got to watch Cole. Man, the guy knows how to save his stuff as the yellow flag flies. The 66 in Errol Marr, I believe, went for a little trip there. We're going to find out. I can well imagine Paul Strickland Jr. is going to have it for us in just mere moments, gents.
Ask and you shall receive. Another Shed Life Shed Movers instant replay here. Focusing in on the 66. As you can see, he's up in the middle groove there. And you see the 08 comes up behind him, dips on down low. And it looks like he comes up just a little bit, gets into the back of the 66, kind of spins him around. 21 gets a piece of him and comes on down, does a great job getting out of the racing groove so nobody comes up and hits him from behind. But doesn't look like the car's in too rough a shape. Everything seems to be right where it still needs to be. There might be a little bit of damage there on the right side of the car. Actually, not too bad. So he'll be able to grab a gear and restart in the tail end of the pack.
With only 15 laps lead in tonight's race, you got to know Darryl Marr's not too overly concerned with that little hit and spin right there. He's got lots of time to make his way to the front of this field. As Bartlett pulls up beside him, has a look at the outside. I thought I seen, Dylan, a little bit of spark coming out of the 66 before he went around.
Very well could be something. I've seen the sparks fly a few times in these super late models, and there can be flat tires, there can be broken suspensions. That's the thing with iRacing. It's getting pretty real as it can get in that simulator. In your rig, you can feel some of that sometimes. Brad Eddy in the Laker, number 6. He's in front with Cory Hall still in second. Jared Butcher Cole Butcher in the 53, and it looks like rounding out your fifth top five is Ryan Van Orscott in the number 81. He made one Pro Stock Tour last year, the final Scotia Speedway race for the Ace in the Hole team. And I think he is planning, if we get some races in for 2020, I believe he is planning to do that again, but still racing his number 25 Sportsman at Riverside and probably a handful of Scotia races as well.
Yeah, talking about Ryan Van Orscott, right before that caution, he was so close to making the 2 wide with Cole Butcher. He had a lot of pressure on that inside for the 4th position. So, unfortunately, he's going to have to go back to P5 and keep working on those 2 Butchers.
Don't forget to tune in on June 23rd for the Nova Truck Center's 150. We're going to have that Parts for Trucks race live right here on Vidane TV. You don't want to miss it. And on the Parts for Trucks Facebook page as the green flag flies there. Dill, look at these guys.
Oh, Cory Hall gets tagged by one of the Butchers, and he hits that outside part, and that's not good for a previous race winner. That may have just been a racing incident. It didn't look like Cory got the greatest of starts there. Maybe a little bit of a spinning tire, but we'll bring the replay up. But he definitely got contact and a little help from one of the Butchers, and I think it may have been Cole, but Cole and Jared were side by side, and we had a camera change there. So we're going to bring the replay up and see what happened. Brad Eddy got away on that start. Jared got a really good start, but Cory not so much. Showtime.
Yeah, you nailed it right on the head. It was a combination of Hall not having a very good start and the 54 having a fantastic start. You can see the Hall just kind of checks up just a little bit to not get into the back of the 54, and nowhere for the 53 to go. Gets into the back bumper of Hall, kind of sends him on around. Hard hit on the outside of the wall. I believe that's, what is that, a track entrance or exit? Yeah, it's got to be a track entrance right
probably.
there, yeah. Right near the Budweiser trailer. I wonder if they've got any cold wobbly pops in there. But tough break for Cory Hall in the 83. Lots of damage on that race car. We'll take a look right now. The front end is all caved in. Starting to look just a little bit like a modified, a little bit with the wheels sticking out down on the left-hand side. But tough break for Cory Hall. We'll see if he's going to be able to endure the rest of this race. Still got well over about 160 laps or so. My math is probably not very good.
You're close. You're in the ballpark, but a little bit of damage as well. Ryan Van Orscott in the 80 made some pretty hard contact with Cory coming down, so that was just a case of getting a little bump in the 53, tried correcting it, got hit by the 80. You can see all that right front damage on that car, and yeah, nasty hit though. That exit and entrance to get on the track, I mean, it's kind of a sharp angle, Joe, so that's probably what made the wreck even worse for Cory.
Well, as the fuzzy-faced Tim Terry would say, give me a little shot in the shorts.
Wait, what did I say?
Timmy, you would say he gave him a little shot in the shorts.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of those things I've learned as a race director these last couple of weeks and months dealing with these races. You can't win the race on lap number 1, but you sure can use it. That's probably another one you can put in your repertoire.
I imagine I got a few of them I could recall if you like.
We might have to recall them, Joe, because I know you've done this before too. We're 1 to green. I did mention to these guys to give and take in a little bit of patience. If there is another caution flag within the next 10 laps, we're going to go single file restarts to try to get these guys spread out and get some green flag laps.
Hammer is going to be dropped. You see, we need Ken Cunning doing these drivers' meetings. There's Scotty does a great job too, so does Timmy. But any of them, these guys have got to get the feel of these iRace cars. That's what they got to do as the green flag flies, guys.
Back again flying. You can see the cars charging down on lap 25. Ryan Van Orscott now slides into second place after hitting Cory Hall, which brought out the caution. So that damage not slowing down the number 80 machine. You can see Jared Butcher falls back now to that 3rd position. Rogers also creeping up, and Dylan Langille in the 51. He's a man on the move. So is Ken McKenzie Sr., but he slid up and falls behind the 21, Sean Pierce, Mike.
Yeah, a couple of drivers on the move, and just talk about that pit stop there for Cory Hall as he's on the move now in 11th position. He took a 17.5-second stop, so a lot of that damage was repaired. We've seen in several races in the past, you'll notice on the 83, some of that front damage is now repaired. One of our race winners from last week did 5 pit stops throughout the race and got a lot of the damage that happened at the beginning of the race. So lots of time for Cory Hall to get that body back to almost perfection before you'll probably see him take advantage of some of these pit stops.
Guys, don't count out Gary Elliott either. He's back in 12th spot right now, but Gary Elliott was at the back at the beginning of this. He's driving that 36 Quaker State Chevrolet, and I'll tell you what, that is a KG veteran. I know we don't see him much in the Maritimes, but we're about to see him a whole lot more. Gary Elliott, super guy, and I'll tell you what, that Quaker State machine knows its way around. That used to be painted red, just like that 53 car you see on the screen right now.
And that 53 car was sent to the back with the 83. No fault cautions. If you're a fan of the Pro Stock Tour, you know that rule. That's why Cole's hanging back there. Watching some other battles, you can see Braden Langille trying to dig his way around Andrew Rogers on board with Sean Pierce. He's got the best seat in the house to watch that battle. You can also see Jared Butcher kind of taking a higher lane there. He's not near. Oh, we got some contact. Pierce gets hit from behind. Don't know who hit him, but on board the 21 Rex on the front stretch.
Yeah, I don't think he got hit from behind. Well, I could be wrong here, but I kind of think that he got a little bit of accordion there, and the traffic sort of snuck up on him. And as a result, away he goes for a twirl. But I know Paul Strickland's going to have this sucker all rewound for us, and we're going to know exactly what happened to that 21 Pierce.
Yes, sir. Nailed it right on the head. The AWS Roofing Instant Replay. Going to take a look from the blimp cam because, well, it's my favorite camera. You can see all the cars on it, and we're going to take a look at the 21. We were on board when it happened. The 51 comes down, hits the 114 rather, and the 21 just checks up ever so slightly to try and it's one of those reaction moves. You see a guy slap into another guy, and you check up just a little bit because you don't want to get involved, and unfortunately, the 08 was there, so... tough break for the 21 of Sean Pierce. A little bit of nose damage. He hit that inside wall quite a bit. Well, that's a lot of damage there. You see the 7's got some damage driving on by too. But he is able to grab a gear. He's going to be able to come down pit road. And as you mentioned earlier, Cory Hall came down pit road and got a lot of his damage fixed on pit road. So this early in the race, I definitely think we'll see the 21 come down pit road quite a few times to get some of this virtual metal, sheet metal banged right back out.
If you're counting, that is twice for Sean Pierce tonight. That both times, not his fault, but involved. So yeah. 21 Pierce down pit road.
It looked like Sean Pierce from Bridgewater got a little sock in the back from Nicholas Noggle, who was coming with a full head of steam out of turn number 4, and that's the case again. We saw Ken McKenzie and Braden Langille kind of clap each other coming out of the turn. Sean hits the brakes to try to avoid, and Nick was probably just coming so fast he probably tried cutting to the inside, but just wasn't there quite enough and gave a little sock there to the number 21 Pierce. He hits the wall, but that's the thing with iRacing too. You can go to the pits and get the damage all fixed up. We saw that with the 83 Cory Hall already. And we're not even a fourth of the way in this race. There's still lots of time to get back to the front. You can see that with the 83. He's already near the top 5.
Yeah, looking at pit road action already this early, Nicholas Noggle has been down 3 times so far, as well as Byron Bartlett and Gary Elliott. So any damage that was done at the early parts of this race have been probably fixed up at this point. Nicholas Noggle went down pit road again, so he's on his 4th visit. He's actually timing his pit roads. We're seeing him on the screen right now as he comes around to the tail here. But Nicholas Noggle 4 times on pit road already at the early parts of this race.
Yeah, 2 cars down 1 lap. The 01 and the 36 car, both down 1 lap. They're going to be vying for position. If the caution comes out again, somebody go and get a lap back, boys.
Green flag back in the air, and that's the thing. These drivers have to beat that pace truck on pit road, whether they're getting damage or just some tires on. You will go a lap down, so that's why we saw the 08 of Nicholas Noggle hammer the gas as soon as that pace truck was coming off turn 4. But pace truck's pulled in, and we've still got Brad Eddy in front. He's led every single lap so far. Jared Butcher on the inside, fending off Ryan Van Orscott. Now a little bit of a crossover nearly, and look at that. There's Cole Butcher back in the top 4 underneath the number 80, Mikey.
Yeah, when you recall, Cole Butcher went all the way to the back from that earlier incident with Cory Hall, but now he's got contact with Northcott almost into the top of the wall. But here comes Butcher. Cole on a mission right now, but he's got the 51 taking a peek on him. That's Braden Langille now going on to the bottom now, fighting with the 83 of Cory Hall. Lots of action here in the top 5.
They were side by side for a couple moments, but the 83 of Cory Hall does pull away and pulls up on the rear deck lid of that 53 car. As you look out front, that number 6, beautiful looking machine. Brad Eddy setting sail with 43 laps complete of 200 in the Cummins 200 parts for trucks.
I know Pat Healy from the Laker News is probably happy to see that number 6 is well in front. Not a lot of TV time, though, because he's in front of all the action. Whoa, I think I saw a car getting loose in the backstretch, fellas. I don't know if he clipped the wall or not. I'm not sure who it was. It was a white car, but we're still green flag racing here. With iRacing, if it's a single car incident, it usually does not bring out the caution. If it involves 2 or more, that's usually when you see that yellow flag, but it's still green flying on lap 45. Brad Eddy's got a sizable lead over Jared Butcher, about 3/4 of a second.
Yeah, Brad Eddy's been near almost perfect here tonight. He's led all 46 laps. If you're just tuning in for the Parts for Trucks Marathon Pro Stock night, it's Toonie Tuesday night, and we got tense battles going on right now with the 80 and 53. Ryan Van Orscott trying to hold off that 53 hard charging Cole Butcher, but keep an eye on Cory Hall as he's lurking back there, looking at an opportunity as the 53 and 80 get aggressive and start to work out some of their issues right now for that position number 3.
Also want to add, guys, back in 9th spot. How about it? The 66 of Daryl Marr. He is marching back towards the front. Don't count that guy out. He is a crafty veteran in this store, and he can get the job done. He'll be just laying the cards down as he needs to as we get a side-by-side battle back up near the front.
Just about a quarter of the way through here at South Boston, you can see Ryan Van Orscott. He is fending off a champion, Pro Stock Tour champion 53, Cole Butcher. And right at the quarter mark, we've got a caution out here, and we're kind of scanning to see who's involved. I can tell you one thing, guys. Pat Healy, a writer for the Laker News, sent me a message. He's a happy sponsor. He's happy to see that number 6 well.
Patty's getting his money's worth tonight here in the Parts for Trucks Tour. The Cummins 200 as the caution flag is out.
Well, fellas, I'd be more than happy to give you an AWS Roofing instant replay here, but scanning through the cars, either that wreck happened real quick or might have been one of those accidental yellows that we've seen happen once, well, maybe just once at one time. A couple of cars coming down pit road, taking advantage of the caution, though. See the 114's down, the 7's down. Looks like the 01 and the 21 all down on pit road, getting some repairs done on those machines. So, not really sure why we're under caution, but these guys absolutely taking advantage of it and banging out some of the virtual damage on those race cars.
So I wonder, and I may not need to wonder long, but I wonder if Gary Elliott will get back on the lead lap now, because he was one down. We'll see.
Yeah, he may get that lucky dog, which will come in handy to get you back here, especially on a very small track like South Boston, a quarter of the way through lap 53. And we've had a handful of cautions to try and slow things down a bit. We haven't had a really long green flag stretch. I can see Troy Burke in the 01. He's on pit road, but he was passed by that pace truck along with another white car on pit road there. So a few cars already got some damage and a few cars already a few laps down, Mike.
Yeah, Gary Elliott is the lucky dog recipient. He is now past the pace truck and coming around, so he is now back on the lead lap. Andrew Rogers is down a lap, and Troy Burke in the 01 car down 3 laps. So unfortunately for Ashton Tucker, who's late for the prom here, he's down 49 laps. Maybe we'll see him, but maybe not. But the big story right before that caution was the battle between Cole Butcher, Ryan Van Orscott, and Cory Hall. That was just heating up nicely. So lots of action there for that position number 3. As you know, and that's kind of the thing that Brad Eddy wants to see. I'm sure his spotters letting him laps with lots of clean air and 0 damage to that 6 car.
You just said it there, Mikey. Spotters. Now, some people, how does that work? You can use the in-game spotter, but it can be reliable. Sometimes it can be not so reliable. You can actually have someone watching a view over top of you, and usually it's a buddy of the driver. So we've got some spotters helping out a few of the drivers tonight. Back green flag racing, Joe, lap 56 of 200, and Jared Butcher's throwing some pressure on the...
Yeah, he sure is, and he's got some pressure by his dear loving brother, the 53 of Cole Butcher. Pulls right up in the rear deck lid of the 54, but Jarrett wants nothing of it. Lets him have a look. Watch this. He's going to toy with him a bit. The 54 pulls him back out. the guy that's smiling right now has got to be Brad Eddy in the 6, saying, go at her, boys, go at her.
Well, the 53 is probably putting a little pressure on his brother Jarrett for one reason, and that's because Ryan Van Orscott and Cory Hall and the rest of the pack are going to want to come up. As you see right now, as Cory Hall dips down to the bottom here on Ryan Van Orscott, they go side by side, a little drag racing on the backstretch, and that is the reason why Cole and Jarrett are trying to get up a little bit further, because Cory Hall coming on strong right now.
Patience is a virtue and rhythm is a dancer. You got to have a little bit of patience there. As you see those two cars battling, open the door for the 51, Dylan Langille. He's on the inside of Ryan Van Orscott, and Cory Hall, who was out in front for the beginning of this race, got a lot of damage on that number 83, but luckily the virtual pit crew was able to fix things up, and now he starts to pull away from the 80 and the 51. That's a little further in the top 10 mark, as we only had 15 drivers answer the call tonight. But it's a short but mighty field with some of the top drivers you're going to see on the Parts Trucks Pro Stock Tour coming to a town near you. When we get fired up here, as we're kind of scanning through the field, you can see Sean Pierce holding off Nicholas Noggle in the 08. Those are two cars, Joe, that brought out one of the cautions.
Yeah, it sure is. The 21 of Pierce has looked really, really good in iRacing. The guy's got her dialed in. You got to watch this 21 car, and the same as the 08. Of Nicholas Noggle, not a slouch behind the wheel, knows exactly what he's doing, and we're only 64 laps in. These guys could be saving some gear for the end.
And boys, just for the fans at home right here, we're seeing a lot of the track change. The track conditions do change here in iRacing, a lot of rubber being laid down on the bottom. Just earlier on, we've seen that the outside line was not as quick as the inside, as Dylan Langille took full advantage of Ryan Van Orscott on hanging out on the outside there, as Cory Hall put that pressure on.
We'll see if we get that two-wide racing coming up in just a bit. You can see some of the information on the screen, the weather and the track dimensions. And that's another thing with iRacing, if you're a little unfamiliar, it recreates the environment as well. You can set the temperature of the track. You can set what time of the day it is. Obviously, at nighttime, things are going to get a bit cooler, which means the track's going to be a bit grippier up at the top. So that's going to make for some exciting racing coming up. But mostly single file for the first part here on lap number 68 of 200, the early going of the virtual Cummins 200. I want to thank Cummins again for sponsoring another race, whether it's at the real track or the virtual track here at South Boston, a very, very popular short track in Virginia, where the Burtons kind of cut their teeth way back in the day, Joe.
Yeah, they sure did. It's one of those famous tracks in the U.S., and it's providing us with some good running tonight. Oops, something going on with the 36 Quaker State machine? Maybe not. Maybe Gary just getting a tired foot. We'll find out. As it looks like those rotors are heating up, he could have some mechanical issues. We'll find out.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's going on for the brakes to be lit up like that, like a Christmas tree the entire way around the track. And maybe he's just trying to slow his roll to try and get back out of the way of the leaders. But you can see the brake rotors are glowing here at South Boston on pretty much every car here as we're kind of scanning through the field, Mike. And that's going to probably affect the entrance of the turns. If you're trying to tap the brakes, if they're pretty worn out, you may go straight onto the wall by the end of the race.
Yeah, this track is very tight. It's a challenging track for a lot of the drivers, especially throughout the tour on the iRacing series. You get used to some of the bigger tracks, and then you come into Sobo, and it's so tight into the corners. So it's a bit of adjustment for our drivers as we go through the tour of the iRacing. And a big shout out to Cummins Diesel for putting off this 200 lap with the Parts for Trucks team. 74 laps completed. A lot of things are going to come into a play here as we get through the day here for the 200 lapper.
You got the Cummins lid on from last year. I've got it on, boys. Feels good, and I love watching this Pro Stock Tour.
What is their slogan? Always on, Joe.
Yeah, always.
Always on.
You got a quarantine beer going, Joe, or just a stash?
I got it all happening. I got it all happening.
There we go. Well, it's all happening, as you can see, a few of the slower cars, including the 0-1 Troy Burke, got in the middle of this battle between essentially teammates. Ryan Van Orscott and Sean Pierce, they like to work together. You always see them at the track. Ryan and his crew, including Kelly McIntyre, always helping out the 21 and vice versa. So a little bit of a teammate battle there. Sean on the inside and Ryan at the top side of the track on lap 77, Joe.
It sure is. 78 now complete, and the 21 appears down low on the 80 of Van Orscott. And he looks like he's going to take that spot, guys. Maybe the bottom is starting to come along.
Yeah, and the Nicholas Nagel is just there taking a peek on the outside here, and hopefully he's looking for an advantage on the bottom here if Sean Pierce washes up here.
On board with Nicholas Nagel again. Nick kind of gave a little shot there unintentionally, and well, you could see Ryan as Sean crossed over. Ryan kind of had to hit the brakes a bit, so Nicholas Nagel's going to try and go underneath the number 80 car. And we saw Ryan was hanging out at the front of the field earlier as he drifted back now to 7th position. Ken McKenzie Sr. under a little pressure now in that 8th position. Ryan was up to 3rd at one point, but man, he got a lot of front end damage after clipping Cory Hall. And speaking of Mr. Hall, he is sitting in the top 5. Going through your field, you can see the score ticker at the top, thanks to Dane TV again. Brad Eddy is the leader, led almost every lap so far. Jared Butcher, Cole Butcher in 3rd. And Mr. Cory Hall, survey says he's sitting in 4th, and he's pouncing on the brother.
That's saying a lot for that number 83 Robbie Fury machine. That is a Fury iRace car. They do a good job. Even though it was racked up, he had the right crew over the wall, and he's got him back into this game, guys.
Yeah, Cory Hall has to be careful now as they come around lap traffic. They are now clear of Andrew Rogers, but very close quarters there for a moment there as the leaders come through. We're going to see some lap traffic as the Brad Eddy leads the way around here now. So he's got some clean hair for a little bit, but our first lap traffic, that was Andrew Rogers in the 14th.
After the number 83 guys, Cory Hall, 5th position is Dylan Langille, but he is nowhere near 4th right now. He's sitting in 5th, but he's got 4 seconds behind the leader and probably about 2 seconds behind 3rd and 4th place. So he's got a lot of distance to try and grow, but it's still early on here. We're not even at the halfway point. So Dylan Langille, the 51. Haven't seen him too many times on iRacing. I know he attended NSCC and they just kind of finished up their e-learning and all that stuff. So maybe he was getting his book learnings in, to quote the great Ricky from Trailer Park Boys. And look at that. That may be a way to bring him closer. Caution back out here at South Boston.
You're talking about Dylan Langille. Big year for him so far as he took the 2020 NX Winter Nationals Pro Championship. So hopefully we get to see a bit more of him as the season gets started.
Yeah, I saw the 0-1 there. You can see facing the right way now. He was facing the wrong. Troy Burke, a lot of damage on the 0-1. Troy hailing from Winslow, Prince Edward Island, pardon me. And one of the only Islanders racing tonight's got a lot of damage, but not having the best of night so far. Showtime.
Yeah, just take a look at the replay right now. You can see, you can almost listen to the 0-1. It sounds like he is a little bit under power. And you saw he hit the apron there, and unfortunately you can see he started spinning as soon as he hit that apron. The car, it just really upset the back end of the car, kind of brought it right on around, and unfortunately hit the inside wall a ton. And then you'll see it as he burns the tires up trying to get that car swung around. He actually smashes in to the outside wall. So a lot of front end damage on that 0-1 car. If he wasn't under power before, he's definitely going to be under power now.
Single car.
Hey guys, these guys are acting pretty good. I was just going to see if Tim Terry'd run down to CJ's there and grab us a hot dog, but I guess that ain't going to happen, no.
I'm missing racetrack food so much. Probably the reason I haven't gained the COVID-15, the Valley Raceway burgers and foot-long hot dogs, Wilma's Pit Stop up at Riverside. Oh, but when the tracks reopen, I'm getting my fixins big time.
Those onion rings are to die for at Riverside. Seen a thing on Twitter the other day, at least I think it was Twitter, maybe it was Facebook. Paul McLean going to head out golfing for the day, and it looked like he was all ready to give her. So Paulie's probably watching. I wonder how his golf game went.
He probably didn't gain 20 pounds from track food.
I'll be honest. honest, like seriously, guys, I probably lost like 10 pounds after racing season last. Like no lie, just getting away from some of that food. So I'm due now to get my 10 pounds back on to get in fighting shape for racing season coming up here. As we're bunching up the field again on lap number 92, we're almost at the halfway point. There's Mr. Domination so far, Brad Eddy in his 6th, but on his outside course, I think Jared Butcher maybe went to the pits, guys. I think he maybe made an early pit stop.
Maybe picked up some Dr. Feelgoods on that 54 car. Could make a difference here as the green flag flies only 7 laps from halfway in the Cummins 200 tonight. The Parts for Trucks Maritime Pro Stock Tour.
Yeah, during that pit stop, boys, pretty much everybody went down to the leaders. Brad Eddy now finally made a stop here on lap 92. So we have fresh rubber on all of our leaders.
Interesting. It may have just been a slower stop at the 54. Maybe Jared had some damage that he wanted to fix up. So jumbling up the field just a little bit, but all things remain the same for P1. Maybe not for long. There's some pressure now from both Cory Hall and Cole Butcher. New leader as we come out of the turn there. And that lap will go to the 83, Cory Hall, a new leader at South Boston, Joe.
Yeah, it sure is. And Cory Hall has got that 83 Robbie's Fury machine just cooking. But don't count Brad Eddy out just yet. He's on the outside hanging tough.
Yeah, we talked about Cory Hall getting that damage at the beginning of the race. Now, he's been down pit road twice. He did go down that last one and got some fresh rubber. So this is where the intensity is starting over again for the 83 as he recompiles himself to get that lead now in front of Brad Eddy. But the challenger right now, 2-time Maritime Pro Stock Tour champion, Cole Butcher, on a run now as he goes door-to-door with the sick and puts a challenge on the 83.
Business is starting to pick up almost at the halfway point. Lap 99 of 200, and look out, there's a Langille 53 and the 6. That's Dylan Langille. Now in this battle, it's a 4-way dance, a fatal 4-way, if you will. Cory Hall's got the lead, but man, he's got a lot of pressure from Brad Eddy and the 53. I'm impressed so far with Brad being able to stay consistent with, maybe not for long. I may have jinxed Cole there. We got a little loose there on the bottom. Now he slides, and now he's near Dylan Langille. I was going to say that outside lane, Joe, is really starting to...
And guys, looking at the pit top sign for our previous leader, Brad Eddy, he looks like he only took 2 tires as he only had a 10-second stop. Well, the rest of the leaders, Cole Butcher and him, took a 20-second stop. So I believe there's 4 fresh ones on the rest of the cars, and Brad looks like he only took 2 tires. So obviously a strategy for himself. He did not want to give up the lead, but it's obviously playing a factor here now as we have a new leader as Cory Hall is being the dominant force right now at the front. So maybe that 4 slicks was the right move on pit road. Brad Eddy taking 2.
It probably was. We'll see how it plays out near the 200 mark here as the field begins to separate just a little bit. Looks like they got a little more running room, at least for this lap.
Yeah, now they're single file for your, at least your top 4. So things have calmed down after the restart. We had 2 wide racing, but hey, look at that. We may have 2. Again, we actually do have it now. It's Jared Butcher underneath Dylan Langille, 2 50 cars, also the 53 in front. You can see Jared and Braden are starting to gain a little bit on Cole, and Cole was side by side with Brad Eddy, but got a little squirrely out of the turns. Fresh tires mostly on all these cars. You mentioned there, Mikey, that Brad Eddy took 2 tires. He has proven he can stretch the tires and still stay up front, but he's going to have to really try and save now to try not wear out the left sides.
Now, what's confusing for me, Dylan Langille is showing as 1 lap down because I think he missed the pace car. So scoring is showing Dylan Langille as a lap down.
Okay, so well, either way, he's fast in that 51. He's not letting 54 get around him easily. So, yeah, it looks like the 51 is a lap down there. So, apologize if we were calling him up in front there. But he did start towards the front of that restart, maybe just because you land where you land. So the 51 is a lap down. So the 4th position is Jared Butcher. 5th would be, I believe, Ryan Van Orsky. We'll see the ticker coming up here in just a moment.
Well, if you took that app that Mike sent through.
I have the app. I just didn't look at it.
He is in fifth. The 80 car fifth. Back to sixth. The 21 appears. Nicholas Noggle back in seventh spot. Byron Bartlett in the 7 cars in the 8th spot. Back.
Oh.
Well.
Oh, boy. Oh, Gary Elliott. Look out.
Hello, Gary. Oh, hello. Hello, 01.
Almost in front of the leaders.
All of that.
Well, definitely a benefit for Braden Langille because he'll get that lucky dog, get that lap back.
I don't think there's going to be too many lucky dogs in that one. I know Paul Strickland's going to have us all sorted out here in just a moment, and he's going to tell us exactly what took place. What happened there, Paul Sierra Jr.?
Well, we're taking a look, focusing the 66 car, as we saw he was kind of acting like a pinball right there. Comes into the corner, seems all right. And something, it looks like something broke on that race car. Violent kind of shift to the right, and you see 7 nowhere to go. The Quaker State 36 nowhere to go. 01 gives him a little bit of a bump, and looks like everybody else. There goes second place car, Brad Eddy, following Cory Hall there. So it could have been a whole lot worse than it was, but definitely a tough break here for Dale in the 66.
Yeah, that was the only straight panel he had left on the car, and the 01 thought, well, that one looks shiny. I'm going to give that there. Ding. There you go. You're
Hey,
good.
boys, almost looks like he had a tire go down on him there and just lost full control of that car into the wall. Looking at his pit times there earlier, he was only down once earlier on, 100 laps on those tires. Not good.
He could have been texting too, you know. This is iRacing. His phone could have went off.
Girlfriend or wife is, you know.
Yep.
How was that for a green flag run, guys?
Yeah, that wasn't bad. I'm going to send you for hot dogs, but I guess you can't now.
Hey, we
Well,
got a special guest in her
We
voice.
found a special guest here, and we could tell the story back when Mike gave her pizza back at Daytona. But Dylan, why don't you talk to the driver of the 32A McKay Builders Pro Stock, Sarah?
Yeah, it sounds good. Sarah, can you hear us?
I can.
Can you turn down your speaker just a little slightly? We can hear Tim coming back through again.
Hold on.
We love Tim. We just don't want to hear him over and over again.
Is that better?
That's much better. How are you, Sarah?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Sarah McKay, driver the number 32 on the Pro Stock Tour. Why aren't you in this race? Where's your iRacing rig?
I've never done it before, and I don't know why. I told Tim to get me hooked up, but he never has.
You got to pressure him a bit more and maybe ask the butchers to give you one of them giant rigs. How are things been for you? I know you run a family business, construction business in New Brunswick. How have things been with your family during this time?
Actually pretty good. We've been able to keep on going. Everything's been pretty good.
What do you think of the racing so far? Got any picks? We're seeing Cory and Brad dominate so far. Who do you got?
I don't know. I've honestly only ever watched 2 iRacing races before, so I honestly don't know how to judge who's going to win this.
You've raced a lot of these people, though, so is there anyone...
I definitely have. Well, if I had to pick anyone, probably Cole, because he always does well.
Don't pick Nicholas Noggle, because he just completely wrecked with Sean Pierce on the front there. So
Noted.
Noted. Let's say we get racing soon in 2020. Are you going to do another part-time schedule for the Pro Stock Tour, or what's the deal?
I guess it depends on when we get back racing, but we had intended this year just to probably do 6 or 7 races. Just, again, super busy here, and leaving requires a couple of days where we're usually traveling, so we were thinking just hitting the big races and then a couple at Petty, and then see where the season takes us. So I guess we'll have to see when we eventually get back racing how many are left.
So if someone could loan you an iRacing, would you get on one of these Pro Stock races, maybe the 23rd?
Oh, I don't know. If I had lots of practice, maybe.
Well, with some of these guys just show up and seem to do pretty well, so I guess it depends race by race. But are you having fun watching this at least?
Yeah, I am. I watched the last one too, and it was actually very interesting, so I think I'll keep tuning in.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us for a bit. We just saw a giant wreck, so we'll get you off the mic and let you enjoy the rest of the race. Thanks for coming up here, Sarah.
Sure. Okay,
Just
thanks.
so you know, Sarah, just so you know, I miss you.
Okay, I miss you guys too.
Huge, just so you know.
I don't miss you. You ate my pizza in Daytona.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm just joking.
She's
I
not
gave it to
sorry
you.
at all, just so you know, Mikey.
That was a great pizza. You know, when the race is over and there's lots of extra food and the guys like packing everything up, and I was going by and we were leaving and picked up a full pizza and I was so excited about it. But Tim and Sarah stole my pizza.
Hey, quick story. You got to hear this. Back when I owned South Boston Speedway, and I'll make it real fast. The infield crew was working. We worked a real long practice time for the guys. The guys on the infield, one guy, Scribby, he got stuck in there for like an hour and a half. He had to go for a whiz. There's no outhouse in there. And he was starving. So finally, the starter, Tori, he said, okay, let Scribby out of there. Let him go for a whiz and get. So he went into the canteen, got a slice of pizza, did his business, got back into the infield. We turned him loose. And sure enough, a car spun. So Scribb had to set his pizza down. He set it down on the wall, jumped on the cleanup thing, and headed out. And just as he's getting ready to go, a seagull came down, grabbed his pizza that he never even got a bite out of, and up and gone it went. It was hilarious. As the green flag flies, 123 now, 120.
I thought you were going to tell me he ate the pizza while he peed.
No. Poor guy didn't have a chance.
Oh, look at this, boys. Big battle brewing right now as the 53 slides in front of the 54. Too short, and he didn't like it either.
Brother.
And a tap.
Oh, brothers taking each other out there.
Oh, brother, how art thou?
That's not the first time
Oh,
that happened.
14.
Oh man, that I hate to say it so much, but cautions breed cautions, and I think we're seeing it here. Maybe a little bit of a curse going on, and this time it involved the Butchers. What happened, Showtime?
Yeah, you can see 54 comes up, and he's able to come right behind here, and it looks like he's going to try a little bit of a crossover, and just gets right into the quarter panel there, and taps him on around, and gets the 7 gets a little piece. Well, 7 gets a big piece. Looks like the 80 got a little bit of a piece. And then we saw the 14 was out of shape there just a little bit. Terry Duguay here. We'll see. He kind of that'd do it. When you get hit with a race car with another race car, it hurts. So a lot of tore up. Oh, and then he backs into the 53 there. So a lot of tore up race cars here, but we're a little bit halfway, maybe 70 laps to go here at the restart.
You know,
except for one car, boys.
You know what the biggest problem here I can see, guys, is the 54 and the 53 are probably side by side in the shop.
Someone just
doing
got
this race.
Can in the head.
I can imagine the 53 would have jumped up and gave his brother a swat.
Well, maybe Cole.
Back up a little bit. I think Cole was being a little aggressive there.
Well, that's what
Jared didn't like it.
That's what Jared will say.
I'm pretty sure Cole's rig is at his house in the valley, so maybe they're not together. Maybe there's an angry text or
I'm sure they got webcams on each other.
That
probably
could be good news. That could be good news if they're not in the same household right now. That may be good news.
Speaking, go ahead, Mikey.
I was going to say, boys, you're talking about a lot of damage on these cars, but one car in particular was our previous leader. Led half the race here as Brad Eddy's had a lot of clean air, but he still stayed out of trouble. But I don't know what Cory Hall's doing with the pace truck right now, but he's making
Just
romance
checking it out. Just checking it out.
Making romance with the pace truck.
Having a look.
But yeah, we got quite a clean car there in the 6, so not sure if anybody picked the 6 car, but he's going to be starting on the outside, which is a little bit of a disadvantage, but very clean car right now for the Brad Eddy and the 6 and the Laker News team.
The thing I think that's going to hurt him is those tires on the left side. He's got fresh ones on the right, but just not 4 fresh tires. I think that may hurt him, unless he's really good at conserving, but he is on the outside. In second place, the Laker News number 6, and we're going to go around one more time here. Want to thank everyone watching again on Bedane TV, the Pro Stock Tour Facebook, and Tim's Corner Motorsports. Got to thank Sarah McKay as well for hopping up. Didn't really say a thank you and goodbye. We started trading pizza stories quickly, but it was cool to have a quick chat with her, and it's great to hear she's doing well. And I love the look of her number 32. The rose gold metallic colors on that ride look so cool at the racetrack, especially under the lights at Riverside, for example. Speaking of lights, they're off the top of the pace truck. It's 131 in 69. Nice. Left to go. Green flag is back out. Cory Hall gets a heck of a start.
Yeah, and he's not messing around. As soon as that Pace truck was an inch off the track, he fired with all cylinders and got a huge launch over Brad Eddy. You watch some of the strategies on his restarts, Joe, but Cory Hall, after watching him several times here, he doesn't mess around. He doesn't allow checkups in the back. As soon as he has that opportunity, he fires. And that's something that the outside line should be watching in the future restarts, knowing that that's the strategy so far here tonight.
Yeah, don't count out that 6 car. I'm telling you right now, guys, as the yellow flag flies, one more time, we got some more bent sheet metal. And don't worry, if you missed it, Paul Strickland Jr. is going to give it to us again.
That's what I do. Another AWS Roofing instant replay. Focus in on the 7001 and the other guy that's involved. I don't remember. 66, that's what it was. And we're going to change the camera angle so it doesn't change on us mid-rec. And we're going to head into the corner here. And 7 just gets in there a little bit too hot. Gets right into the back of the 01, turns him around, and gets T-boned there by the 66. So tough break for those guys. A lot of damage already on those race cars. So going to slow them up here for the last quarter of the race.
That virtual paint shop's going to be busy tomorrow.
Well, Gary Paxton has checked in online and says, hope you're having your quarantine Pepsi, Joe.
Oh, Jerry. Jerry, now that
He's
you're
listening, so don't say anything bad.
Jerry, June 23rd. You got to be in this studio with me, buddy. June 23rd. The Nova Truck Center's 150. So we got to do it, buddy. You get your butt up here. Put your mask on with the hole in it.
Well, he's also saying lots of cautions here in iRacing, a little bit more than real cars. So
there goes Cory checking out the back end of that base truck one more time. That's his virtual brother. That's what it is.
Guys, just to check in on activity again, once again, as pit road is definitely going to be a play-in factor. Brad Eddy still only once down pit road, only right sides, I believe, only two tires for him. Another car to be looking at that's interesting is Dylan Langille, which we was down a lap on that last caution that he went down pit road. He still only has one pit road visit. So the rest of the teams have been down twice at least. Our maximum is Byron Bartlett at 8 times and Gary Elliott at 7 times tonight.
It's kind of cool to check out that app. I got the app now on my phone, so I'm looking, and it's kind of like watching Formula One, how they'll show how many times a driver or a team has pit, and yeah, you can see the number 1, Brad Eddy, or pardon me, the number 6 has only gone to the pits 1 time. So one of the only drivers doing that one pit stop strategy so far, but still holding up strong.
It's kind of cool because it tells you their times throughout the race here. You know, Cory Hall's been down 22 seconds in total. Brad Eddy 10.5 seconds. So looks like we're going to get a restart. Green flag here, boys, as Cory Hall. But look at that. Brad Eddy might have been listening to the broadcast and got a really good restart there as they go door to door. Brad Eddy timed that one just perfect.
Interesting that that Cory took the inside, because now he's lost the lead. It's another new leader. Brad Eddy in the 6 back out in front. I'm curious why the change. I mean, he was on the outside for the first restart we had as him as a leader, and he jumped out right away trying the inside lane. Didn't work out for him this time, Joe.
It didn't, but Brad Eddy, I'll tell you, as we get a couple of cars, the 80 definitely bounced it off the fence that time, and I believe the 83 car did as well. The 6 car, man, looking good, but how about the red machine on its way back towards the front? Watch out.
Yeah, Cole Butcher and Dylan Langille going at it now side by side for that position number 4. And look at that, Nicholas Nago back into action now, looking on the outside of the window here as they go for a run in front of them.
Nicholas is one of those drivers who has had to make a stop in the pits a few times here, but yeah, he's hanging around the top 5, and you can see the move now. Cole Butcher goes around Braden Langille. Braden now is in 4th. He is on the lead lap. We can't confirm. He was hanging around the leaders earlier, and that was probably a smart strategy to stay up by the leaders, because now he's there. He's on the same lap, 1:46 here of the 200 for the virtual Cummins 200 at the South Boston Speedway. It's another Parts Trucks Pro Stock Tour E-race, and Brad Eddy back out in front. It's only been Cory Hall and Brad Eddy leading the thing so far, Joe.
That's right, and Cory Hall has been bouncing back and forth. Half a second back, then he bumps it up to 4/10, and then back to a half a second. You can't count that 83 car out yet. He's searching around looking for that perfect line as we got just 53 laps to go.
Well, that last caution played in Brad Eddy's hands because he got to be able to compose himself after losing the lead to Cory Hall on that last run, and he did a beautiful job on that restart and timed it perfectly. Brad Eddy is the fastest car on the track here tonight with a 14:48 best lap time. Next to that is a 14:53.
I think I just saw a Butcher on the inside, and it looks like they crumpled that car, and I think it may be Jared, because I see Cole now on the front stretch. So there is a lot of damage on the 54 Jared Butcher, a lot of damage on the Superior Foundations car.
Yeah, just pulling up the AWS Roofing Instant Replay, and you nailed it right on the head. The red 84. Jarrett Butcher gets a little bit tore up here. We're going to give it to you in real time. And you can see, actually, there he was already out of shape. It looks like he came out of the pits. So he was just down on pit road. He grabbed left side tires. He comes back out, and it looks like as he re-entered the track, just doesn't look like he saw the 01 was there, and unfortunately sent him on around. But there was definitely another hit in there, I think, because there was a lot of damage on that 54 car. It may have came from that.
I'm betting that steering wheel that was featured on CTV Morning Live was a shaking pretty good there.
Most definitely. It doesn't look like it's too bad here, but as he's going to pull, looks like right back onto pit road as the caution came out.
You can see a few cars on pit road, including Gary Elliott and Sean Pearson. Looks like they're probably done for the evening as they are multiple laps. And that's the thing with this, Joe. A lot of damage can happen. Sometimes it takes more than just a couple of bangs on the hammer to try and get that damage. Sometimes it's suspension, and that takes a bit to fix.
Yeah, it sure does. There is a lot that can go wrong in one of these wrecks, and it does go wrong even in iRacing. Those guys will be hard at work, but they'll get it fixed up. They'll be back out.
Okay, guys, we were talking about strategy at the beginning here with Cory Hall. He has left the leadership of the front row and has gone down pit road. Leaders have stayed out. Cole Butcher now moving up to the front row, but Cory Hall only in 5th position from that last visit, and looks like he took 4 tires.
Tires are probably going to play a big factor, as you just mentioned, Cory Hall's fallen back just a bit, but fresh set on that car, it's probably going to chew through the field as Brad is staying up in front. Cole Butcher now up to 2nd. How about Ken McKenzie Sr. on the screens coming up? Ken Sr. McKenzie, whatever you want to call him. He is in 3rd and that 85, and Nicholas Noggle in 4th, and we mentioned the 83 Cory Hall. He's in 5th. Ryan Van Orscott in 6th on his outside. The number 6 gets the green flag again, slides in front of the number 53 Cole Butcher. 1:55 now in the books, Joe.
Yeah, there sure is. And how about that 53 of Butcher? He's got that thing switched on. I'll tell you what, Mr. Eddy, he has got company.
45 left to go. Cory Hall picking up one more spot now, fixing now on the 3rd spot now as he chases down our leaders. Cory Hall, man on the move, went from 5th and picked up 2 spots on Kenny McKenzie Sr. and Nicholas Noggle.
Cory Hall is picking him off like crazy here on lap 157. Brad Eddy, the Make-A-Wish number 53 Atlantic tilt load. Cole Butcher within half a car length, but you can see the nose of Cory Hall sticking in there. 3 cars up in front on lap 158. After that, a gaggle of cars all back together in turn 1 and 2.
gaggle of cars. And just looking at the scoring, guys, Cory Hall is a 1/10 of a second faster, and we're seeing it right now as he dips down to the bottom, Joe. He's putting a lot of pressure now on those leaders.
He sure is. And what a race have we got on our hands here tonight in the Cummins 200. It's the Parts for Trucks Maritime Pro Stock Tour, and they're doing the show again.
The only thing that can make it better, Joe, is being at the track live, seeing this battle. How great would it be to see Cory Hall as he gets a little loose at a turn 2, Cole Butcher and Brad Eddy battling on the track. And you want to hear that rumble, but you can hear the sound of the cars here from iRacing. Brad Eddy holding on for dear life, 2 very fast machines behind him.
I've seen this story before, and it always has a different ending every time. But that 53 of Cole Butcher is usually in the picture at the end of the race. And I'll tell you, that 6 car, you can't count him out to win this this race. He's got it. Brad Eddy knows what he's doing behind the wheel of the 6.
Yeah, you guys said it right, boys. It's nothing better than the energy of the crowd, the roar of the engines, and when you got an intense battle like this 3-way battle we're seeing right now with Eddy, Butcher, and Hall, this is where it gets exciting. With 37 laps to go, this is going to be an exciting finish here for the Cummins 200.
Now, it looks like there will be a slower car coming in the picture, as now the 83, a little crooked out of turn 2. He's getting a little sideways out of the exits, but able to get it straight and keep up with the 53. Now Cole Butcher slides in front of Cory Hall once again. They've got to start to somewhat work together because they've got Brad Eddy starting to pull away, Joe.
Yeah, he is, and the 53 car is going to want to reel him back in. He can't let Brad get out too far, and he's still got to play a little bit of a protection role with the 83 car, Cory Hall. You can't give that guy any slack. If you do, he's going to be by. So that Make-A-Wish tilt load machine, he knows what he's doing. This is interesting here.
You know what's exciting, Dylan? You know, we're seeing that mid-line develop now. Earlier on, we've seen that the inside was a little bit quicker here, but Cole Butcher's been working that mid to high line here and is working, getting around this lap traffic. So we're going to see in the final laps here which is going to be the best line to get around here, as Brad Eddy is holding off those two, and this is what he's looking forward to, watching Cole Butcher and Cory Hall go at it back there and use up their equipment, trying to track him down.
You notice the number 14, Terry Duguay, kind of clapped the wall on the inside. He now falls back, and now a driver. Oh, a little bit of a shot there from number 53, Cole Butcher, after Cory Hall gets around the 53. Fresh tires on that Fury race car, but he's still got that number 53 right in his mirror. Brad Eddy was closing away there for a moment, but then everyone got bunched up again because of the 14. Now Brad Eddy with less than 30 laps to go, and a caution out. Just about to say Brad Eddy was starting to get away from Cory and Cole, but they'll be stacked up once again.
That's not what Brad Eddy wanted to see, but you know what? The way this has been going tonight and on several other of these races, we've seen a lot of late cautions in these races, so I don't think this is going to be the last one, but as Paul is about to join us here on the replay.
AWS Roofing instant replay one more time. You can see the 21 following in the 66 coming into the corner, and looks like the 66 got a little bit out of shape, and the 21 just kind of helped him on around there. And it looks like as the 66 mashed on the gas pedal, the 14 was around as well. That was kind of curious. Let's rewind that a little bit and see what went on with the 14 car of Terry Duguay here. Looks like he just comes off of the corner, slaps the wall, and just loses the back end of the race car. Barely misses the 01 and the 21 as they drive by. So couple of hard little hits back here in the pack, and we'll see what these guys can do. Unfortunately, it looks like the 14 multiple laps down already, so gonna be a long night. Maybe retire after the race for a couple of wobbly pops.
Couple Tuesday casuals.
Couple of Pepsis.
Couple of sody pops. So a late race caution. There probably will be less than 25 laps to go when we start up again. Kind of scanning through the comments, fellas. A lot of Butcher fans for both Jared and Cole. A lot of Cory Hall fans cheering on. Also noticing that Giselle mentioned, what do you guys think if NASCAR can have fans? Which they announced today. Miami's going to have 1,000 fans on Sunday. Talladega, the week after, is going to have 5,000 fans in the stands. That we can maybe get some fans, in the crowd soon enough. Well, it all depends on borders and, that stuff. But hopefully we're going to have you cheering and going nuts for racing like we've been seeing tonight sooner than later, as we've got 3 fast cars up in front.
5,000 fans at Talladega. There was more than that at Jennerstown on the weekend. That 5,000 at Talladega, guys, you're not even going to be able to tell there's anybody there.
You're going to have no problem with leg room. You're going to have a whole stand to yourself pretty much. But, hey, you know what?
You got the beer guy. He's going to be able to sit beside you.
That's right. You just got to say, hey, dude, beer me over here. So it's a start, though, with 5,000 at the big old Talladega. We're here at the small at South Boston. Less than 25 to go. Green flag is out. Brad Eddy starts to pull away from Cory Hall, Mike.
Yeah, Brad Eddy just took the same strategy at Cory Hall. No messing around. As soon as that pace truck was out of the way, he took off. But look at this, Cory Hall and Cole Butcher now hard charging up to the back, chasing down and throwing that reel out and trying to reel in the 6 of Brad Eddy.
Yeah, now who's got the pain in their neck? I'll tell you who. Oh, Mr. McKenzie, you're going for a ride.
You're going for a ride.
What a thrill ride that he went for. Caution outed. Looked very reminiscent of Ryan Newman landing on front of the 500, but not as violent. But that involves Nicholas Noggle again and McKenzie Sr., and we're going to bring Showtime to show us what happened. Well, what a wreck. Wow.
They got sexy with each other.
I guess so.
You know, it's easier to go over these replays when you unmute your microphone. I'm starting to find that out. rookie mistake, we'll call it. But as you can see, the 85 was down low, got a little bit out of shape, or the 08 gets a little bit out of shape, comes down, spins the 05 around and sends him for a little bit of a spin and a flip and a couple more spins. Sticks the landing though, I'll give him a 6 for style points. Grabs a gear, rolls on down the track. Lots of damage on that race car. It looks like he's going to be able to maybe muster a top 10. There's only 8 cars on the lead lap right now, but you can bet he's going to be coming down pit road to grab some tires and probably fix some of that damage.
Gary Elliott, that Quaker State ride, would have been behind that, watching it, going, I know what that's all about. The last time we were out, that's what I did.
Well, let's check out pit road. Cole Butcher has visited pit road while the leaders have stayed out. So Cole Butcher now with some fresh skins. Could this play a factor with 19 laps to go?
Ooh, good strategy move. But, we'll just take a look at Brad Eddy. He only took 2, where everybody else took 4.
Brad Eddy has only been down once this whole race.
Yeah, only took like 55 laps, and then things equalized. So Brad Eddy out front of this one. He's looking good.
Hope he has enough fuel.
All these cautions have probably helped his case in the fuel tank, but yeah, that's a thing we got to remember. We've had times a few laps from winning a race, and then they run out in turn 4 with like 3 laps to go. It can happen. There's less than 20 here. Big Brad is still the leader, but we'll call him Mr. Domination for the most majority of this race. And the 83, Cory Hall, also showing a lot of speed. Braden Langille's now in 3rd. And let's call him Mr. Morning Show TV, Cole Butcher, was featured on CTV Morning Live today. I'm sure he got a little nap this afternoon. He's well rested. He's got fresh tires on the 53, and he's in 4th.
Yeah, I think we're in for a good one here, but this may not be the last caution, as I think this is going to be pretty tight on the front row, boys.
Ooh, and Brad Eddy takes the Jackrabbit restart of the night. Look at him go in that 6 car. And here comes the 53. Look out, Corey, you got company.
Oh, man, he's got lots of company. We almost went 3 wide there in that turn. Cole Butcher makes easy work, almost in one full swoop. And we've got a big wreck on the back, on the front stretch, pardon me. At the back of the pack, we were seeing the number 53. He did get around Cory Hall. He was close to catching up to Brad. I saw a few cars up in the air, and including the driver who started 3rd, 51, Braden Langille. I think just the tire fall off eventually ended his run up in front. What happened, Showtime? You got the mic unmuted?
Yeah, we got her unmuted this time, so we're going to see the 80 goes down low on the 51, gives him a little bit of a shot. And as he comes around, comes up the track, 7, 14, 36, 08, and the 66 gets a little bit of a piece of it, but everybody's able to roll away on their own power, so good news there. Nothing really too crazy as far as hits are concerned, so just more damage here in the back of the pack. Well, about mid-pack.
Other than the 14 car, he got hit so hard he evaporated.
You know, it's that there you see it right there on pit road, that wall that kind of comes in at you. Like the 80 of Van Orscott tried to avoid that and it just went straight out and got T-boned.
A lot of damage.
Barbecue.
Yeah, a lot of damage, and that's going to probably set us up with having about 10 laps to go. Tuesday night shootout. Tim, man, we're going to have a little crazy ending here.
We are going to have a little bit of a crazy ending here. Just wanted to let everybody know we did have a 3 caution rule here tonight. We also had that 50-point incident cap. We're kind of letting 2 and 2 take care of each other. The 14 of Terry Duguay has been parked for too many incident points. The 01 is bumping right up on that, as is the 7. So hopefully they can finish off these last few laps green. Tires or no tires, I kind of like the 53 strategy right now, but we'll see how it plays out and see if we can get some laps in to end under green. Also want to say hello to McKinnon's Racing. Got a couple of text messages that they are watching from Sleepy Hollow and Charlottetown, so I want to say hello to them. And with all the spare time that they have, they should be able to get an iRacing rig in the shop, right?
I would think so. And before you go anywhere, leave your bell. Hand it over to Dylan.
Yeah. Also, I just got a message from Jared Butcher. Was trying to get him into Discord to talk to you guys, but had some internet issues a little bit earlier, dropped them from the server, and then came back out and gotten that caution flag a couple ago. So he said his first stop tomorrow morning is going to be Princess Auto on the way to Atlantic Tilt Load. So hopefully he gets back and we see him again at Richmond. And hopefully the brother rivalry is not too bad after that little altercation earlier.
I bet you they're going to talk about it.
I'm sure they are, and I'm sure Darren and Ann are going to have a conversation about it too. We're going green.
Yeah, we are. Go back to work, Tim. Terry, as the pace truck will hit pit road, who's going to get the jump this time?
I'm not sure. It looks like on the start there will be Brad Eddy. Green flag is back out. There will be less than 10 laps to go. Nearly a crossover. Brad Eddy slides up the track with Cole Butcher getting a lot of momentum in turn 1 and 2. Now he throws it on the inside, side by side, coming back on the front stretch. We're drag racing down the front stretch, Mike.
9 laps to go. Brad Eddy trying to strategize by rolling up on Cole Butcher there on that restart, but Butcher now working the bottom, and they are going door-to-door drag racing, and it's going to be all Butcher with those 4 fresh tires. That strategy with only 1 pit stop on Brad Eddy is playing him, but he's going to send him.
Oh, man, that's going to throw the 6 and the 53 to the back here.
Oh, my God.
That's trouble. I bet you Cole will forget all about Jarrett.
Yeah, I was going to say, forget about the brothers fight. There may be a fight between Brad Eddy and Cole Butcher. Just I figured he probably would try and do that to maybe try and get him a little loose to shove him up the track, but came in a bit too high.
Yeah, looking at the replay right now, this is the onboard. You can see Brad Eddy just kept his wheel in it. It doesn't look like that was intentional. It looks like he was just trying to give him a little bit of a bump, and it just stuck. So sent him on around, and he comes back out the leader, and we'll see exactly. They're going to be putting the 53 and the 6 in the back. It looks like 53 was around again here. Nope, same spin. You can see it one more time, a little bit of a different angle. Sends him up into the wall, and comes back down in the racing groove. Big hit for the 21, big hit for the 80. So a pair of smashing in there on the front of the car. Grabs the gear, spins it on around. Going to have less than 5 laps to go here, boys.
Well, that just mixed everything up here because Byron Bartlett now is on row number 1 with Cory Hall.
Ooh, and a plot thickens one more time.
Byron Bartlett has visited pit road 11 times. Tim, earlier was talking about the incident points. A lot of damage on the 7. Not all his fault throughout this evening, just at the wrong place at the wrong time, but he's going to find himself on row number 1 with Cory Hall. Keep an eye on that 51, boys. Braden Langille has been down pit road a couple of times here, and he's going to start on that inside and give good chase to Cory Hall here on this restart.
Man, it's like a Talladega or a Daytona race. There are so many cars at the front completely beat up, but hey, sometimes it's survival the fittest, and there was a lot of damage on the 83 we saw earlier after Cory went for a wild ride right about there at the entrance of the track out of turn number 2. This time he's in front, Byron Bartlett. Wouldn't that be something if Byron steals a win tonight after, man, how many times he's been on, maybe even Dylan Langille in the 51. He was hanging at the front while he was a lap down. Now he's on the lead lap. He's in third, and it probably will be a 3-lap dash, maybe a green-white checkered. So the pace lights are off the vehicle. Well, we're going to see what's going to transpire here, boys. This is going to be a tight one. I don't know the tire situation on Byron, so you got to assume he's got fresh tires because he has been down pit road a lot. He's going to be on the outside, and we've seen either lane really work. Cory's going to have to try and slide up here. Pace lights off the pace truck. The E virtual Cummins 200, a green-white checkered, and not a great start for the 7. Green flag is back out.
And it's going to be a shootout, Joe, as Cory Hall timed that one perfect with the pace truck, but we're going to see a little battle with the 51 as he tries to get up on the back of the Cory Hall. That could open up the door for Nicholas Langille here as we count down the final 2 laps. This is going to go quick as the white silk's in the skies, guys.
One more time around, but as fast as it's done, there we are. After Brad Eddy and Cole Butcher took each other out, 2 for 2 for the E Pro Stock races. Cory Hall, comeback kid after getting wrecked. The virtual Cummins 200. Wow, what a Cinderella story for him. Dylan Langille, Nicholas Langille got out in front of the number 7, Byron Bartlett, Brad Eddy, Van Orscott, Cole Butcher, Mar, Burke, and Mackenzie Sr. round out the top. Man, if you were watching a little earlier, you probably had your money on either Cole Butcher or maybe Brad Eddy. Man, that last caution mixed things up. Cory Hall gets another E win.
We had $1,000 right on this race.
Did anybody pick Cory Hall?
Yeah, that would be the guy from The Rock.
Oh, I haven't shook hands in 3 months. I ain't know nothing.
We did the COVID shake.
The elbows?
Sure.
The bumpity bump.
The bumpity bump, and the bumpity bump was the thing to set up this green-white checkered after the 6 made contact with Cole Butcher, and now we've got a different winner, but the same winner basically. Cory's won a few of these TCM events, and now he's won another E Maritime Pro Stock Tour race, and we're just getting our drivers all lined up here. Tim, how about that? We had a little incident towards the end, and now we've got a pretty much familiar face in victory lane.
Yeah, that was fun. It's always great to see fireworks. Joe had to bring up the bell. But regardless, it was a exciting finish, and I believe you guys have our 3rd place finisher, Nicholas Langille.
Sure, Joe, you want to talk to our 3rd place finisher?
Absolutely, Mr. Nicholas Langille. What a race for you tonight, bud. Everything happened, but look at this, top 3 run.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, not going to lie, I didn't practice at all before 6 o'clock tonight. Turned about 20 laps and then had to start dead last in the heat, and that wasn't fun.
Well, you kicked the season off down at New Smyrna, bud. You did us proud down there. You haven't been able to turn a wheel in your real 08 car yet this year, at least not up here. But you're doing a great job in iRacing. I've been watching you the last few times, and man, you can get her done.
Yeah, no, I mean, iRacing's definitely there. You get the competition, but it just is not the same as racing a real car. I mean, half the fun of going to the track is doing the setup on the car and stuff like that. So when you take all that away, it kind of sucks.
I hear you. The June 23rd, we got the Nova Truck Center's 150 coming up. You got to be one of those guys that everybody's got to circle.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I like that track. Definitely turn some laps there in person, and it's a lot of fun. It brings a whole new perspective to it.
Well, you got a wrinkled up iRace car, but that's no problem. You can push a button, I think, later, buddy, and she'll be all sorted out. Good job tonight. 3rd spot for you.
Thanks a lot, boys. I really appreciate it.
You bet. Nicholas Langille in the 08 always does a dynamite job.
He slid in the 3rd there at the end. I mean, he got there and finished on the podium, and a slid into victory lane is Cory Hall again from New Brunswick, and Cory's with us. Can you hear us, Cory?
Yeah, guys, got you loud and clear.
Loud and clear, man. You had a wild night. You're in front. You wrecked at the entrance of the track. You pitted a few times, and you watched the 6 and the 53 wreck. You land in victory lane. Your second Pro Stock Tour win tonight was a little crazy, and could you say it was almost handed to you by the end?
Oh yeah, no, honestly, I don't feel right taking any credit for this. I understand it's racing and stuff happens, but a big tip of the hat to Brad. I mean, he just had us covered tonight, and then no one could really run with him, especially on a long run. And I mean, we pit there, and I took 4 and he took 2, and I passed him early just with the grip, and I killed the tires off it, and then he passed me back on a restart and drove away with 2 tires. So that just goes to show how good he was. Second off, I got to thank Craig McDonald in the race Friday. My computer, with all the new iRacing updates and it being 5 years old, it couldn't handle what was going on. So I was lagging out of the session and all that, and lost the race there because of it. So came down to his place and used his rig, and I don't want to make an excuse of it being uncomfortable for me, but it definitely was uncomfortable for me, but tried to adapt to it as much as I could, and just thankful to come away with the win. But like I said, it definitely tip of the hat to Brad.
Well, I know that iRacing and real racing is different, but you just mentioned it there. Everyone's got a different simulator. Everyone's got a different rig. Is it kind of along the lines of hopping in somebody else's race car that you're not familiar with?
Oh, 100%. And honestly, in my opinion, it's worse because you can't feel the car like you can in real life to still drive it. You're so used to your surroundings being a constant when you're in the game. As soon as that changes, it's definitely throws a wrench into it. And I was more confident driving down here than I was when I showed up and went out for practice. I couldn't believe I was 4/10 off, and then we just slowly just kept getting me used to his and the difference in his, and even made a couple changes to his wheel settings, which seemed to help too. So there's it's different with iRacing, but nonetheless, very, very thankful that he let me use it in where I don't have one.
That's what teammates are for, right? Cory, let's talk about this. First time in a long time we can talk about real racing. New Brunswick's opening up a little bit. Miramichi opens up on the 20th, and Petty's on the 26th. Are you planning to try and dabble in any of those tracks? I know it's not pro stocks, but are you maybe going to get the legend car out, or did you maybe build a mini stock to try and race?
I'm honestly, if I had the time and resources, I would get a mini stock just to go race. If there's anyone that's looking for someone to drive the car, I'd be more than happy to jump in the seat. Regardless, I'm more than happy to try anything. But as of right now, I don't have anything to drive for these opening weekends without the Pro or Legend being run. So, yeah, if anyone's got a car, I'll drive it.
What's your pitch to maybe the potential owners? Can you bring the big bucks, or can you bring it in victory lane maybe?
I'm not much for trying to promise too much. Try to, I guess, more or less leave it on the track and see what happens. I can't really comment on the victory lane side of it, but obviously I'm very competitive and I would try my best.
Hey, anyone who's got an open mini stock, put Cory in there on the 20th or the 26th. You'll probably get a good run. But it was good to see you run up front here, and you got the win. Probably not the way you wanted it, but another win for you tonight.
Yeah, and big thanks to the Pro Stock Tour for putting this event on, and it's definitely neat to get to do at least some racing with some familiar faces. And thanks to Cummins and obviously Parts for Trucks and all the guys that put this deal together. Tim, you guys, I know there's a lot of behind the scenes that makes this deal happen. So big thanks to all you guys, and hopefully we'll go out to the next race and see if we can continue this streak that just became a little bit of a luck streak.
Hey, a win's a win at the end. Congrats, Cory. You got another W tonight.
Yes, thank you. And of course, big thanks to my father, my mother, King Racing, Rolly, Judy, Andrew, GS Racing, they're on the car, Robbie's towing, all the Reeds. There's sure there's a lot of people that I'm missing, but big
You're
thanks to all
missing
them. that
Mike
helped.
James.
Not you, Mike.
Hey, I selected him. I got $1,000 on your head tonight.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Good job, Cory.
We also have our, when we're just kind of waiting, maybe having from Braden Langille. Yeah, what's the situation on our second place finisher there, Timmy?
It's past his bedtime and he's gone to bed. So he messaged me and said he had a great time. Wanted to thank everybody for watching tonight. And he was kind of a last-minute ad. Talked to him this morning and asked him if he wanted to be a part of this. And obviously he's been a big part of the Pro Stock Tour the last couple of years too. So great to see Braden out here. And he's already jacked up and ready to go for Richmond. Try to get Byron Bartlett on the line. What a run that he had tonight. Byron ended up with a shot to win that at the end and came home in position number 4. But you guys do have fifth place finisher Brad Eddy, and I know it's not a finish where he wanted to be, but take it away with Brad.
Sure, we'll get a quick word. Brad, can you hear us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Probably not the way you wanted to finish things off there. You were able to stay on the track with one pit stop. Your tires seemed to hold up and you held speed, but what happened towards the end there with you and Cole? Did you just come in with a little bit too much steam in the turn, or did he maybe slow up a bit in front of you?
Well, he's a smart racer, right? So he knew what he had to do to keep me behind him. I've seen him do it before. He definitely, slowed up, and it's what I would have done. But no, I just wanted to. He had the faster car, and he kind of ran me up to the wall just a bit. So I just wanted to rough him up a little bit. And lately, all the time I've been getting into guys, and it doesn't show a 0x, and I don't feel it in the wheel. So I actually got into, and I got into a second time, and he just shot to the right. So I didn't mean to dump him or whatever. I'm actually talking to him on Facebook right now, but just wanted to rough him up. It was probably going to be his race to win, but I kind of took it from both of us, really. So sorry about that one, everyone, but hopefully it was a good show.
Come on, Brad. You had a prime opportunity to quote Dale Earnhardt there. You wanted to rattle his cage a little bit.
That's what I was thinking. I should have said.
Hey, but either way, though, you were up front almost the entire time, and you just did the one pit stop. You've done that a few times with some of these TCM races. Are you just good at managing the tires, or what's with that?
Yeah, I try. That's kind of one of the things that I worked on a lot in real life. So I try to save my tires on here, and it usually works out well for me. But I just know how important track position is, especially in some of the races with more cars. You get to the back, and you just get involved in a lot of stuff, and it's easy to get your blood boiling. So I figured, mitigate the risk, maybe pit if there's only a couple cars in the lead lap at the end. But I was hanging on for dear life in those two right sides.
Well, you got some new colors on your number 6. Anyone you want to say hey to? Any sponsors you want to say hey to?
Yeah, no, thanks for reminding me, actually. Pat Healy came on and he sent me a message and he said he'd like to get the Laker on the car. So figured I'd throw together a Laker car, and the Laker is his newspaper that he runs out of the Fall River area. And it's actually a really good example about how a community can come together about something that they care about. So Pat's a really great guy. He holds it down there in that community. So just really happy to support him because he supported me for so many years. So happy to have his colors on the car, and maybe we'll get somebody else on the car for the following weeks.
Are you going to race on Friday night?
I'm not sure. It's kind of golf season now, but but we'll see what happens. Like, I love running these races. So.
Well, if you start smacking all your balls in the woods, you got to race. You can come over here Friday night.
Why do you think I was here tonight?
Hey, Brad, thanks for chatting with us for a quick moment, and we'll see you next time. Anytime you come out here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Again, apologies to 53. So. Good race, everybody. Congrats to Cory. Thanks, TCM. Thanks, Pro Stock.
Sounds good. 5th place finish after a little incident at the end, but that's Brad Eddy getting a top 5 for a little Pro Stock Tour e-race. And Mike, we've actually got our 4th place finisher here, Byron Bartlett, after kind of a Cinderella story. You want to have a quick moment with him?
Yeah. Hey, Byron, I got you there? Hello, Byron.
Earth to Byron. Byron's mic may be muted. I don't know, but
I think this is the first time he's been on Discord, so we might throw him down there with Brent Roy to see if he can't get this done. But we'll try to get this hooked up, guys. What a race that was, though. Exciting finish, and we're gonna do it all over again in 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun, especially at Richmond too. That's a fast track with the super late models, and we're going to see these familiar again. And even before that, Tim, we got some fun events coming up here on Friday. Tim left the chat, so I was going to bounce it off him. But we got some fun races coming up. Another Tranquility Online race for Friday. Keep track of Vidane TV and Tim's Corner Motorsports again. Joe, what did you think of the racing tonight as we're kind of checking out some of the upcoming races here?
Gotta love it. That's all I can say. And if I haven't said it once, I've said it 1,000.
Yeah, help me now, Tim.
I miss my East Coast guys, miss my East Coast family. But this year goes a long way into scratching that itch, I can tell you that. Great race tonight.
Tim, do you have me?
And dynamite stuff.
Tim,
Hey, guys,
Cory, do you have me?
Hey guys, we got Byron Bartlett, Mike James. Let's chat with the
Hey, Byron, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing okay now. Worked up a sweat.
Oh, buddy, you sound jacked. That sounds awesome, man. On the front row on the final couple of laps there in the shootout. A lot of damage on the car. Not all your fault. Just at the wrong place at the wrong time here tonight. Bit of a rough go for you. But did you have something for us there at the end?
I would have. I did take some damage. And these young fellas are taking me to school on the restart. I thought that I would kind of get a jump on him, but he left the truck was still on. And he took me to school tonight. So an old dog, I just learned a new trick.
Oh, well, that's awesome to hear. Byron, when did you start racing?
Real racing in the real world, 1988 at Hammond River in St. John.
Nice.
This iRacing thing, I've been doing it for probably 3 years and haven't really got serious with it until this year. I've had some guys actually from down Halifax way take me under their wing and kind of show me the ropes, and that's been a big help.
Well, Byron, I've seen you in about 10 or 12 of these for iRacing. You do hold your own, so big night here for you to fall into the top 4. We're going to see you a little bit more now in the next couple of weeks. You're looking forward to some of the next Parts for Trucks Pro Stock Tour races?
Oh, my gosh, absolutely. This is good fun. This is good fun. And I got to thank Steve Matthews for all the help he's done. I just got a new monitor, and he's walked me through that. He crew chief for me tonight. Without him, I don't know where I would have been.
Well, we got someone here on Newfoundland. Bern Hickey has actually been talking about coming back. Now, he goes all the way back to the 60s, so hopefully we can get you guys battling on here one of these nights. I know he's been talking about going back to the Pro Stock Tour, so it'll be interesting to see some of these legends show these young lads how it gets done.
Well, it'll be nice to see Bern come on. Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you, these young fellas are good at it. And like I say, I just learned a new trick tonight. So I thought I was ready on the restart, but not so much.
Awesome news. Great to chat with you, Byron. We look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks and at Richmond. And that's a bit of a bigger track, so you might get to see some more two-wide racing. I know Sobo's a little bit tight compared to the rest of the tracks that you've seen over the last little bit here. Did you find South Boston a little bit more difficult where it was tight in the corners?
It is tight, and the guys are all good at this, and there's not a lot of room, and the times are really tight. So maybe Richmond will be able to stretch our legs a little, and I'm looking forward to that racetrack, actually.
Awesome news. All right, well, I guess that's it, boys. We're going to conclude tonight. Tim, take us home.
Before you let me go, I want to thank you guys for everything you're doing for iRacing and for the sport. It's great promotion. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Byron. Appreciate it, dude. Good race out there tonight.
Thank you.
Good job, Byron.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, guys.
That's pretty much, as Mike said, going to wrap us up here tonight. Want to congratulate everybody. And I think Mike kind of mentioned it. The groove rubbered in a little bit more than we anticipated tonight at South Boston, but we'll hope to clear a little bit of that rubber before we go green the next time we do race at Richmond in 2 weeks' time. But lots of upcoming events coming up here on the schedule. We're actually racing for the TCM special events on Friday night. The Tranquility Super Late models are back. They're at Lucas Oil Raceway, Indianapolis Raceway Park. And actually, if you're still within earshot of us on Facebook, we do have a qualifying session tonight at 11:30. So that is 40 minutes away from now. So if you want to get qualified or at least attempt to qualify for that race, you can do so. That will come up on Friday. And then the Oxford 500 week coming up the next week. We've got June 15th, which is the late model stock race. We've got June 18th, which is the ARCA National car for 150 laps. Then we got a 250 with the Super. And then we got a Super Speedway race on June 21. And then June 22nd and 25th is the spring finale for TCM for the open events. That is the All-Star Showcase coming up. Track to be announced. It's either going to be Five Flags or Southern National. Still trying to get some feedback from some of those guys that have qualified for the show. But it's going to be a fun show. Dylan, Mike, Joe, thank you very much for coming out. I know everybody enjoyed the broadcast. Look forward to the Nova Truck Center's 150 in 2 weeks' time. Want to thank Tara Foster, Ken Cunning from the Maritime Pro Stock Tour. Thanks to Parts for Trucks. I know Dave and Robert and all those guys got a real kick out of the first one, and hopefully they enjoyed this one here as well. And they're celebrating a big year. They have celebrated a big year, so great to have them on board once again. And, of course, Steve McNeil and the folks at Cummins Eastern Canada. Upcoming events on your screen for Verdane. Busy for them as well. New Smyrna World Series. They got the Memorial Race coming up on Saturday. The East Coast Winter League, Florida Pro Trucks, all that fun stuff. You can check them out on Verdane TV on Facebook. And I think that's pretty much going to do it for us. I think I probably covered everything. Paul's down there having, I think, a cheeseburger from what's left, or a pulled pork sandwich from what's left at the concession. Oh, we're at South Boston. It's a bologna burger. What am I talking about? So we'll close it off for that. On behalf of the whole Verdane crew. Also want to thank Brent Roy as well before we close off. Brent wanted to race tonight, so if the Maritime Pro Stock Tour is listening, you get another car if he can allow him in. But he was actually in the admin booth tonight, helping us out, making sure that we threw the cautions and all the calls were somewhat decently right. So thanks to everybody for coming out here tonight. Upcoming events on the screen. Be sure to follow Verdane TV, the Maritime Pro Stock Tour, and, of course, Tim's Corner Motorsports. That's going to do it for us here this evening. Until next time, 2 weeks' time from Richmond Raceway, my name is Tim Terry. Keep the hammer down. We'll see you at the track.